Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today we've got the second, I believe, we'll say second update on the foil project. The foil project, if you don't know, is a P51 Mustang. It's a ICM kit. I did say I would either build it, and because there was a fair few problems with it, I'd either build it or I wouldn't build it. Well, I've not built it. I'm just using it as a mule. It's just to practice on. It cost a tenner. It didn't even have any locating pegs and things like that. And for someone like myself at my level, I prefer to spend my time, having something make me happy than, yes, it can make me a better modeler. I understand all that, but we've all got premium time, and yes, I'm at this bench all the time, but it tends to be either painting figures as a commission war game historical commission painter, plus other historical war game figures I paint and sell on, and then of course I've got my massive enjoyment of painting busts and large scale display figures. So everything has to fit in. My model building, everything, my model building is a hobby. So yeah, I've got no problems with learning things as I go along, hence doing this foil. But I want to feel happy about doing it. I don't want to be sitting here just grumbling because I can't get something to work right. So it is a mule. There is a fuselage and some wings, and that's it. Not even put the rest of the flaps on or whatever. It is what it is. It's just teaching me to put foil on. I got this idea from Genesis Models and Designs, which is Jennifer Wright. I did put if you go back to my introductory video on the foil project, I put some links up to her channel. She's a top class model builder and painter and all that good stuff, and she was showing us how to do this. So this is just me more or less copying what she's done. She's used a thicker foil, as she explained. She had to get an American foil, which tends to be a bit thicker than ours in the UK. I've gone for the thickest that my wife could get from the local supermarket when she goes food shopping, and I've just gone with that. I'm just learning, as I go. So join me at the bench, and we'll have a look at the panels themselves, and I'll just go again on how I've actually, the materials I'm using. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. As I look through this viewfinder, you can hardly see there's any foil on the plane at the moment. I'll actually I'll move it off for a second, and we'll just have a quick look at what I'm using to actually put the stuff on. So I wipe over the panel areas I'm working on, just one at a time usually, because I am doing one panel at a time. I wipe over it with cotton buds and a IPA, so the alcohol, and that's just to clean the surface off. I then use this micro metal foil adhesive, and it's proved very good so far. It's quite liquid, it's not too thick. I put it on, I give it 30 seconds or so just to start it hardening off, I suppose. It doesn't, but a thickening, whatever you want to call it, drying, I don't know. But yeah, and then I put my foil on. Now the foil I'm using, this is what I'm using. This is as thick, if you can hear that. This has been put in a saucepan with some salt water, some cooking salt in it, and it'll give you that bit of a discoloration. A lot of that white residue, by the way, comes off with when you're going over it with your wet and dry paper, so you don't have to worry about that. It has got a very slight, I don't know if you can see on the other side, there's some slight hexagonal designs in there, but they're not proud or anything like that, and when they get laid down and you you rub them down, burnish them in, they disappear. So you can just about see them. They all disappear, so don't worry about that. But it just gives it a bit of discoloration rather than just the bright. I actually really like the bright war birds, you know, that are post-war type of thing, and as shiny as anything with a bit of paint on them as well, you know, and some nice artwork on the side. I do like those. But yeah, and what I do is I swap over either side. I'll have a look at a particular piece and just decide, you know, that's going to be that, but a bit more shinier or a bit more dull, you know. So that's. We'll get. I don't cut out the shape of the panel. I just will stick a piece, not too overly large, but I just stick it over. And of course, when you start burnishing it down, your different panel lines will come out, or in, I should say, and then you run a scalpel round it, and you know, you just when you've done that, you'll just be able to peel your foil off. So once it's been glued down, you put this down. I then burnishing it with a cocktail stick. I keep the cocktail stick fairly smooth. I occasionally put a sand around it because it does get a bit gluey as well. This one's starting to get a bit sticky. But I just rub it, not so much the pointed end, more around here, and just backwards and forwards. I've been going from the inside out to obviously push the air pockets away from the centre, because there will be some small air pockets, and you can see that if the glue's a bit too ripply in places, it'll squeegee the glue out almost. I'll actually, before I use the cocktail stick, I should say, I use a cotton bud, and I don't have any, you know what cotton bud is anyway, but I go over with a cotton bud first, and then I use this, as I say, from the inside of the panel out, and once that's done, I will just quickly go over with some IPA again, just to remove any gluey residue off the top. And then these are offcuts I buy. They're not obviously this small, they come in big chunks. I get them off eBay, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm useless on grades. Hang on, we've got a larger piece that I've cut this off from. I mean, that's saying 15 to 1200, and as I say, these are offcuts that they get always a bit dusty and stuff. But they're fine. Obviously, they're nice and pliable as well. So I'll go over that a few times. I don't press particularly hard. I just go over. Get a fair bit of usage out of them. You see where I've just started using this piece, and you'll get this blackness off the foil. And then I use, and I can't tell you what that is off the top of my head, but some really smooth wet and dry sandpaper that would be used for paint, say, you know, smoothing some paint down on a car model. I use that, and again, just to smooth it down slightly more. I'm quite sure you could polish these out. I'm going to be, once I've done a few more panels, I'm going to go on to then staining a few and polishing a few and just seeing what they look like. So we'll go on to the actual foil itself. And let me just turn this, see if that makes any difference. I always say this, turn this particular light off. And I knew we'd have a bit of a problem with the light bounce off the foil, and we are. I think, obviously as a complete noob, and I'm not, let me just move the camera up, guys. Let's see if we can do this slightly better. We're as far back as we can go. Yeah, I'm not an expert, obviously, and I'm really just getting back into modelling. Yes, I've been doing it now a couple of years, but this is only, it's been mostly armour again. So I'm not going to get it as good as Jennifer, but I can see some quite pleasing results there. I can see where I've burnished it and scrubbed it with the sandpaper. That very bright bit there, that was a bit that I actually ripped off by mistake and put that in its place, and it's too bright really, but you could always stain it. As I say, I'm going to look at staining, but you can see this is a fuel cap here. There'll be in the wing tank underneath that, and you can see it picks out the detail very, very nicely. I don't know if you're going to see, but there is all the rivet detail is actually, obviously that rivet's there, you can see, but even I'm just trying to find something that it goes round all the different features fine. The one thing I'd say that I've not been very good at yet is, and this is just a learning curve, I've gone over the lights there just because, you know, it didn't really matter to me that the lights were there. It's actually teaching me to go around. As you can see here, there's bits of rough model there as it in itself, and there is rippling which you wouldn't want. I know there is canning on aircraft and that, but maybe not that bad. So that's got to be improved on a lot. We can see where the ammo gets, the spent cartridges gets ejected there. They've come up quite well. You can see the rivets here. Now it's very little. We've got a bit of loose foil there, but I'm not sure if that's loose or just. Oh no, it's a bit of cotton. So I'm trying to look through a viewfinder with bouncing lights all over the place. This thinner foil, I don't know if it has if it's because it's thinner, it will put up all the blemishes in the plastic as well. But on a true metal aircraft, and unless it's polished to, you know, perfection like the post-war ones are for air shows and things, they're quite often going to be beat up anyway. You know, it's these are aluminium. You know, they're going to be dinged and worn. Again, going over the tops, that's all a learning curve. That I've just went straight over the gun inlets or whatever you want to call them there. See where I've got, that was one of the first pieces I did, and that's really rough there. But you can go around complicated. I mean, that's a really complicated, well for me it is anyway. Sorry guys, I've got, right, that's a really complicated shape there. Now you can see a couple of bits on the close-up here. That could have probably been in tighter there, and here, that was the other night. I was late at night. I thought, I've only been doing literally the odd couple of panels every now and then, and I blooming ripped a piece up. But in the end I thought, no, I'll leave it because I can show the guys that you can make mistakes. I did fill it in once because this stuff is quite forgiving, and you can cut a very thin strip. It doesn't have to match that, and burnish it in. You can see the glue residue. That's why you also have to wipe it down, because what I'll also do is overlap the glue onto another panel just to make sure that this sticks down nicely. So you need to get your IPA alcohol and wipe all that off before you start, or otherwise you're obviously going to be lumpy bits under your foil. But as you can see, you know, that was quite a faint panel line, but it still went round it okay. And up here we can even see the little screw holes or screw head things there. Again, that wouldn't be good enough on a model that you'd want to keep, but it is a learning curve. And you can see how the different colours you get in the burnishedness as well. I mean, that one's going to be there could be a reason that you might want to spray that. I think Jennifer did say spray some areas with your something like the AK True Metals and that, you know, or the what I know the one, I've got them, I just can't remember the name of them, but you know, you might want to spray that and then put your foil round, and then if there is any missed bits, you're not in too much of a problem. So yeah, that's where we've got. That was another difficult shape. And that piece sticking up there, I think that was left over. I've got to go into that space. That was the other night. I've got to take that out and go in and put another piece in there. But yeah, you know, it's again, so we've got a bit of lift there, very slightly. But this is for somebody who hasn't got much experience in aircraft, having a go with foil, where, you know, you guys that are obviously experienced modelers, you'd be able to pull this off fairly decent. You know, you know, it's going to be time consuming. You know, you'd have to really want to do it, and I actually do. I'd like to do. I've said once I can do, I'm going to try probably the other wing as well, and try and get these complicated shapes where I'm not rippling up the foil, and just I'll probably go over every panel that's on here just to try and get better at it before I actually spend the money and the time doing another one. So yeah, that's project foil number 2. I will probably show you one more, not so much to show you the entire, because obviously it's a mule, you know, it's just a test bed, and more or less what you've seen there is you know, accidents included, is what it is. But I will probably show another one where I'm going to have a see what polishes up the panels. Not all of them. I'll just pick, you know, a nice flat panel like that without the damage, and or maybe something like that, you know, and just polish it up and just see what it looks like brightened. And then the odd panel that you might want to say, well, I'd like a bit more discoloration on that particular panel, you know. And so we'll see about. I think Jennifer was talking about using the track burnisher that you can buy, and she's used that as well. See, again, you can see the little, you know, all the features come up. Yes, using track burnisher to burnish places as well. So there you go, guys. It was, as I say, it's just something that interested me when I watched her do it. I thought I'd really like to have a go at that. It's, you know, it's I do believe metal, you know, real metal looks like metal, if that makes sense. I do believe, by the way, that AK aluminium and that is absolutely, the lacquer is absolutely fantastic. So, you know, it's I'm not knocking that at all. But if you've got the time, or even, I think she showed a Focke-Wulf Dora, I'm not sure, and there was a couple of metal panels on that, and it was just like 2 for some reason. I can't remember why, but and again, so if you didn't want to do an entire aircraft and spend half your life doing that, you could just do maybe one panel, and rather than spray it, just burnish it with this, with a cocktail stick, and it comes up really well. As I say, mine's a bit, you know, as I say, I'm not, that was the whole idea of learning it, you know. I've got wrinkles in places and that, not over the main panels, but the more complicated shapes and whatever. That might be because I'm using a thinner foil, but I don't think so. I think it's just practice, really. Right, guys, you look after yourselves. I hope everything's going well with you. Up and coming videos, we've got the reveal of the fighter pilot bust. That's coming up sometime in the week. What else have we got? I should be weathering the Focke-Wulf 190 1/72 scale tonight. I was going to do it in the last hour or two, start that, but I realised there was a couple of bits I needed to paint on it first. So yeah, but that will hopefully get weathered today, or tonight I should say, put some oils on it. I've got another aircraft that I should be showing you. That's got to wait for a varnish coat and then weather that one, but that should be sometime in the late week. And what else? I think that's about it. Commission painting work, war games, Napoleonics you saw the other day. Until I get to the trumpeters and the officers, I don't see the point in showing you any more of those, because they are roughly, apart from slightly different horse colours, they're all the same. You know, I don't want to, you know, just keep showing you the same uniforms all the time. And there'll be other bits and bobs coming up, no doubt. So look at, when I finally get to start my 38T, hopefully, either Sunday or Monday, Tuesday. I just wanted to get the aircraft out of the way. It was starting to look like a model graveyard with the amount of models I've got sat around. Yeah, I just wanted to get the aircraft at least out of the way before I started that. So guys, again, look after yourselves. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing on the vids I'm watching, and it's all great entertainment, and I'm enjoying the projects that you're doing. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.